Hi, welcome to or back to my channel. My name's Annie and today I'm going to be talking about the worst books and the most disappointing books that I read in 2025. I know this video is coming out super late. I'm filming it on January 26th, so hopefully I'll get it up in the beginning of February, although who can say? Because I've not been at the top of my YouTube game lately. But I thought, I do this video every year. I don't want to let it pass me by. And I have some books I want to talk about. The reason I added the category of most disappointing this year was actually because I only have two worst books. And they're both pretty bad. But for the most part, I read books that I really liked this year. I didn't have too many that really were egregious. And that's why I added the disappointing books category, was because there were a few when I was scrolling through all of the books that I've read this year that I really was excited about and just completely let me down, and I'm still sad about it. So I thought I'd talk about those here. Other disclaimer would just be that I do tend to block out books that I don't like, so I might not be crystal clear on the details. I will be fact checking everything as I'm editing, so I'm not gonna say anything incorrect. I just might, for some of them, it might just be a bit more vibes based. I remember I hated this book and this is kind of why, but I don't know more. And that might just be what we're dealing with today. So probably will be a shorter video, but yeah, make yourself some tea or some other cozy drink, sit down, and let's get into the books. So we're gonna start with the most disappointing books, and these are not in any particular order, but I will be starting with the one book of this whole list that I did DNF. And unfortunately, that is My Heart is a Chainsaw by Stephen Graham Jones. I wanted to like this book so much, and I'm so sad I didn't. So this book is about a girl named Jade who lives in Idaho, kind of in this little village around this lake called Indian Lake, and she is at least partly Native American, and she is obsessed with slashers. She has a really hard home life, and she has kind of put all her personality into this hobby, which is watching slashers, reading about them, just overall kind of being obsessed with them. And she is so obsessed with them that she is beginning to think that there's something going on in her town and that she is currently in a slasher, basically. There's a couple that dies at the lake, and then a new girl moves to town and she's like, wait, that's the final girl. Oh my god, it's the final girl. And then she's like, okay, killings are gonna happen, I know what's happening. And then I think she's trying to solve it, but she really doesn't think she's final girl material. And that is what I know about this book. I think I got at least 100 pages in. I gave it a fair shot. There were several reasons why I thought that this book would work for me. First and foremost, I have heard great things about Stephen Graham Jones' writing, and honestly, even though I didn't like this, I might give another book of his or another series of his another try, because I really want to like his stuff, and I know that so many people do, so I don't know why I don't get it. The other reason is that I love slashers. I love horror, but slashers specifically. Scream is my favorite movie franchise. I love slashers, and so I was like, okay, cool, a slasher book, this sounds fun. But it didn't really work for me. For one thing, the main character Jade is super annoying, and I think I was supposed to feel badly for her, but I couldn't. I just really didn't. Everything about her is just kind of sad. She has a hard home life, she doesn't really have any friends, and she's kind of dived into this slasher obsession as a trauma response. And you would think that someone like that would be really sympathetic to read from, but I found her so annoying that I couldn't really feel too bad for her. I feel like a bad person, but I didn't care one way or another. She was super weird. There was just all these moments that almost made me cringe. She's talking to people and they're like, hey girl, are you okay? And she's like, slasher. We're in a slasher. And I just couldn't take it seriously. So I gave up. I think the last thing I would say is that she's in high school, she reads very young, and then some of the trauma that it turns out that she's gone through is very deep and pretty dark. And I think that like it was a little bit jarring. Like, I'm not against necessarily using pretty rough subject matter in books, especially horror. Like, it is what it is as long as you handle it with care. But there was something so tonally strange about it that was when we've kind of found out one of the really traumatic things that has happened to her. I just kind of tapped out. But yeah, that is My Heart is a Chainsaw. I might try to read more from Stephen Graham Jones in the future, but I was really sad about this one. Next up, we have another horror. This one is a YA horror, and I'm so sad I didn't like this one because everyone I likes it. Like, Katie Colson likes it. Jasper My Cats Can't Read like it. I don't know if Gavin's read it. Maybe Gavin's read it. I know a lot of people love this book, and I wanted to be one of the girls that got it, and I just was not. And that is Don't Let the Forest In by C.G. Drews. Honestly, this one is just a preference thing. I almost feel bad having it on this list. Basically, this is about Thomas and Andrew. These are two boys at this boarding school, kind of in the like New England woodlands. Oh wait, no, they're in Virginia. Anyway, they're at school in Virginia, and we're following the perspective of Andrew, who really loves to write, and Thomas is like his best friend. And Thomas, my dad sneezed. I don't know if you heard that, but my dad was sneezing. Thomas likes to draw, and Andrew writes his stories, and sometimes like Andrew will write a story and Thomas will draw a monster to go with it, and it's really cute. And like Andrew has a crush on Thomas, but is worried about ruining.
봐봐, 너가 그렇게 바로 까먹고 잊고 있고 저 뭐 취임새야 뭐야? 까먹고 잊고 힙합.
Andrew has a crush on Thomas, but is worried about ruining their friendship. And they're kind of in this little friend group with Andrew's twin sister, Dove, and they're all like besties. But as soon as they kind of arrive back for school this year, Andrew notices that something's off. Thomas is acting a bit strange and distant. He keeps going into the woods, even though they've been forbidden from going in there after something that happened last year, although no one will talk about what that was. And after he comes out of the forest from being in there all night, he's covered in like wounds. And we basically go from there trying to figure out what exactly is happening. And it's gay, and it's like got cool drawings in it. Let me see if I can find these drawings, because it really, like, this is exactly the sort of thing that I would think I would love, and I wanted to so badly. Look at these. There's like illustrations. It's super cool. And I think I purely did not like it because it just didn't connect with me. Something about the prose I did not care for. I think that the prose was a bit dramatic, maybe, and I didn't find it. Took me out of the story. Basically, I just didn't care for the writing style, so I'm really sad about this one. But that is Don't Let the Forest In by C.G. Drews. Next up, we have Anne's House of Dreams by Lucy Maud Montgomery. I think this is the 5th book in the Anne of Green Gables series. I read this on audiobook, and this is one of the ones that I've mostly blanked out. One thing about me, I love Anne of Green Gables. I love it. I read it all the time when I was a kid, and I would kind of just read like the first couple books. So there was like Anne of Green Gables, Anne of the Island, and then the 3rd one, I would read those over and over again, and those ones are really good. If you don't know what Anne of Green Gables is about, it's basically about this young girl that is adopted by this kind of curmudgeonly brother and sister that take her in, and she's just like, she's very quirky, and she has this whole like unique way that she sees the world, and it's kind of about like her mishaps growing up with this family. And the series like follows her all through life. So I guess if you don't want any spoilers for the Anne of Green Gables series, I'll put a time that you can click to, but this is going to be very brief. Basically, in this book, I believe Anne and Gilbert are married, and it's like Anne's feminism and like sense of self completely went out the window. I can't even recall specifics. I just remember I was listening to audiobook and I was like, I don't know this person and I don't like her very much. So I DNF'd the series. I finished that book, but I was like, no more after that. And it made me really sad because Anne was a character that was so like firm in who she was and very feminist, and to just see her kind of like all of a sudden randomly like take a back seat to all the men in her life and like defer to them was disappointing and shocking. That one made me sad, but again, can't point to anything specific because I really tried to forget. I think in the future I'll just be reading those first 3 and I'll let it end there and I'll be happy, you know? My last one for most disappointing books is Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. This book is not a bad book. It just didn't feel that good. Emily Henry, you probably know of her. She is one of the most popular romance authors today, and I don't even really like romance like that, right? But every year when she comes out with a book, I read it, and I usually buy it too. I don't think I have this one, which is probably good. Also, sorry that the light keeps changing outside. We've had a bunch of snow in the last couple days, which has been nice, but there's like scattered clouds today, so the sun keeps moving behind the cloud and then back out, and it's a whole thing. This one is about a guy and a girl, and the girl is like, she's a journalist, I think, and the guy is like a Pulitzer Prize winning novelist, and this really famous woman that hasn't done interviews in like years and is now quite old invites them both to her house to kind of audition them to write the biography of her life. She's basically having them both like write a bit of it, and they're each doing interviews with her, and then at the end of like X amount of time she's gonna see which one of them she wants to win. And over the course of this, like, they find out about all her secrets and then also kind of fall in love. This was something very different for Emily Henry. Usually she just does it's not like it's just rom-com, like they have a lot of depth to them, but there's not usually this much like plot stuff going on. And I think she was really trying to do something new, which like I want to applaud her for, but I don't think it was executed very well. And it also didn't feel very original or like Emily Henry. It felt like she was trying to do way too much. Maybe if the book had been like 200 pages longer, it would have been good, but it just felt like there was too much kind of stuffed into this 300-page package. And also, the whole story is so similar to The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. It like distracts from the story. Like, once you hear the premise, you're kind of like, oh, that's just like that other book. So it didn't feel unique, and the characters, I can't really remember anything about them. It was just kind of forgettable, and I was disappointed by it because I want to support Emily Henry if she's like trying to expand her horizons and whatnot. But this book just really fell flat for me. I just think it was really forgettable, and that kind of sucks. Now moving on to the worst books that I read last year. I have 2, as I mentioned before. One of them is definitely worse than the other one, so I think I'll save that one for last. This one is another one that I've blocked some things out about, but I have a couple things I do remember that I will mention, and that is Heavenly Tyrant by Zirin J. Zhao. I was very sad that I didn't like this book. This is the second book, and I think I don't know if there's gonna be more. I can't even remember what happened at the end of this one, but the first book in this duology as of right now was Heavenly Tyrant, and I liked that book a lot. Like, I thought it was very good. It's a YA sci-fi sort of thing. It's sort of loosely based on this Chinese empress named Wu Zietian, but it has kind of a whole sci-fi like twist to it. So it's about this girl that like rises to power and basically takes over an empire. I'm not really gonna get into it, but the world is really interesting. There's like, they can channel their chi, the characters in this book, and create these like chrysalises, like basically like an avatar form.
Let's get out of here.
That's like made of pure chi that they use to fight aliens. Like it's really fun. And the first book I thought was great. Like it was YA, and it was definitely YAing, but I thought the character was cool. I thought like all the hardships she went through were insane, and the way that she kind of carried herself was really admirable. She is a like fierce main character that is not necessarily like the best person, but it was very interesting. So I liked the first one a lot. And then this book just kind of, the character that we spent the whole first book building and making complicated and interesting, and like someone that you don't always agree with, but someone that you do kind of like support and love as a reader. It was like character assassination almost. There is, I mean, spoilers. Like this whole video is kind of all spoilers. If you don't want to know, skip. I should have a timestamp, like, or I should have chapters where you can skip to the next book I talk about. Basically, there's this guy that's like an old emperor that gets reincarnated, and he's a big character in the second book. And he sucks, and she ends up like having a romance with him. So there was this other guy that she kind of had this like throuple relationship with in the first book, and the other guy from that died. So it's like this guy that she really likes, and they split up because he basically pairs with this like emperor guy to, this is crazy. They conspire against her because she doesn't want to have any kids, and they're like, we need to have an heir for the empire. And basically the two of these guys like devise a plan along with some advisor to like knock her out and drug her, and then like collect her eggs, and then artificially inseminate another woman and like put her eggs in there too, so that she can produce an heir without her knowledge. Which is really, really fucked up. Like that's messed up. So she like breaks up with this guy basically, and is like, I never want to speak to you again. Like genuinely, you're dead to me. But to the emperor, she still ends up dating him. And like aside from all that, like he has like lots of great ideas about, I don't know, like unions and labor and stuff. And also those sections are super preachy, and like feels like you're reading like a textbook or something when he talks. He's also just kind of a jerk, and she like completely like submits herself to him. The whole thing was kind of icky to me, the two of them. And then the sex scenes are really cringe and badly written, and yeah, I think a couple things happened. I think I almost had whiplash as I was listening to this book, and then I started kind of tuning it out. So I don't even really know what happened at the end. That's the other thing. There was like lots of like plot stuff just kind of thrown at the wall. Like there was so much going on that none of it ended up like sticking in my head. I was just left feeling so confused about this character, because at the book she kind of walks it back and is like, oh, I wasn't really myself. I wasn't being my best self when I was with the like emperor conqueror guy. I don't think that was really mentioned while it was happening. Like she seemed fine, I guess. I don't know. So I ended up feeling really conflicted about just how I felt about her. Like to me it felt like she wasn't really this like feminist girl boss icon anymore, because she kind of just like became a shell of herself for this man. But then I was like, maybe that was the point. But if it was the point, I just don't think it was executed well. I don't know. I feel like I'm probably confusing you. I'm confused. I did not like it. If there is another book, I will not be continuing. No more. No more. And finally, the worst book by a long shot. Like this, I knew that I think the whole year since I read this book that this was the worst one. I thought it can't possibly get worse than this, and that is Quicksilver by Kelly Hart. What a book. Not for me, no thank you. This is a book that like blew up this year on Book Talk and whatnot, and it's romantasy, and I really wanted to try it because I saw that Gavin liked it, and I was like, maybe I'll like it too. I did not like it. Basically, it's about this girl named Saris Fane. Yeah, Saris Fane. That is basically a copy of Selena Sardothia from Throne of Glass. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. She is living in this world that's just like super messed up. No one really gets any water ever. And she just has to kind of steal to provide any resources for her and her brother to live off of. And then she gets caught like stealing something and is punished and has to go like into this palace to receive her punishment, and is all of a sudden saved by this guy that comes through a portal, and he takes her to like the Fae world. And this guy's name is Kingfisher, and he's Fae. And basically, like, the Fae are in this battle with, like, vampires. And our girl, Saris Fane, is, like, magical and, like, has cool powers because obviously she does. And they want her to, like, make these weapons for them. So she's gonna do that. And then if she does it, like, they'll let her go back to her world, which wasn't that great to begin with. But, like, she misses her brother, I guess. I had several issues with this book. Firstly, the writing was bad. Not just that the word choice was bad and like it read like it was poorly written. There were spelling errors, there were grammar errors, there were full-on like missing words. Like it would say, for example, I don't know, instead of I went to the store, it would like say I went store. Stuff like that. So that was one thing. Also, I kind of got my hopes up. Like, the beginning bit before she goes to the palace was actually kind of, like, all right. And it seemed like the world was pretty cool and stuff. And then she goes to this other world, which is, like, not very fleshed out or great at all. So I think that, like, for me reading it, I started the book and I was like, oh, okay. I was surprised by how much I liked it, and then it all went downhill. I will get to Kingfisher, but there's this other character, I think his name is like Cassius. He's this other guy from Saris's world that like ends up in the Fae world, and he and Saris used to like hang out sometimes, and the whole book is just like really disrespectful and always mentions how they've had sex and like embarrasses her in front of other people. By the end of the book, we're like supposed to think he's like funny and a cool guy and he's like bestie now, and I just don't forget like that. I don't forget, like, I don't know. And even when we are supposed to think that he's like her friend and he's supposed to be like growing on us, he's still making jokes about that. And I think also it's like this very romantic-y humor where we can only talk about sex and like curse and stuff. And I just don't find it funny. Anyway, I don't like him. And then Kingfisher. This man, he's my biggest op. I hate him so much. So basically, Kingfisher is horrible to Saris this whole time, which first off, I was so confused when I was reading it because I was like, there's no reason for you to be rude to her based on anything that's happened. Like, he's like mean to her straight off the bat. Nothing's happened. He like needs her help with something. Like, it's not like they've met and they're like on opposing sides or anything. Like, if anything, she should be annoyed with him. But like, he's just an asshole kind of from day one. And eventually we do get that explained to us, but I was confused, and also it felt kind of like needless, and it still does when we found out why. he's a fae, right? So fae like to like make deals with people and trick them and stuff. He basically tricks her into this deal where he can control her body. He can control her physically and like take away all her consent, and she can't do anything about it, which, please someone lock him up. Like, that's terrifying. And he uses that to kind of like make her like stay in his bed all day while he goes and like, I don't know, does things so that she'll like smell him all day. It's like very Stockholm syndrome-y, and I didn't like it. And then later he's like, you know, I didn't make you have sex with me. I could have done that. As in, like, you should be grateful that I didn't force you to, anyway, so yeah, scum of the earth, just awful guy. He also is obsessed with the smell of her, and he loves to like tell her he can smell it. He loves to like bring up that he can smell it in front of other people. Like, there's this like scene at a dinner table where he's like saying it to everyone to like embarrass her. This must be a thing for the author, because that's, the other guy does that to her too. But he like publicly shames and embarrasses her for like being attracted to him. I think, don't quote me on this, I think he like shames her for sleeping with the other guy before they even met, which is crazy, but okay. And I'm sure he did a bunch of other worse things that I blocked out, but basically at the end of the book, we find out that apparently they're fated mates. Oh my god. And he found this out, I don't know, from like a dream or something, I can't remember, and like knew that before he met her, but he doesn't want to get hurt. And he doesn't want to hurt her. So, and he like can't fall in love. So he decided to just like be the worst ever to her so that she wouldn't fall in love with him. But like, it didn't work. Kill me now. Anyway, I hated it. Awful, awful, very bad book. And I didn't like it at all. Okay, so those are all the books. Thank you if you watched this far. I feel like I was a bit scrambled today, a little bit all over the place. I hope that I can somehow edit this and make it cohesive and somewhat interesting to watch. So I hope you're here. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. I am gonna be trying to post like every 2 weeks or so. So I would love it if you would tune in. I think this year I'm trying to focus on quality over quantity. So I might be trying to do different types of videos this year. I think we'll see where the year takes us, but I would love to have you here for part of that. Let me know if you've read any of these books, what you thought, if you think I'm totally wrong. Let's be nice, but like tell me if you disagree. I would love to hear your opinions. These are just mine. Also, if you watched this far in the video, leave a like snowflake emoji because it's a snow day, and I guess because of Quicksilver. Is there even any snow in that book? I don't know, but the cover gives snow, so leave that. And I love you. I will see you in my next video very soon. Bye.